Hump Day, and of course, happy April Fool's Day. Don't believe anything you read or hear today. I've already got caught off guard a couple of times, so I'm just going to look on my X, make sure everything's working there. People can hear me. April Fool's Day. Don't believe. Yeah, it looks like it. Let me type a little GM in the. Okay. I'll fire up the chat here as well. Anyway, all eyes, of course, on Donald Trump tonight. I think that's I think that's the main thing that's going on here. We're all waiting on that, though. Markets are looking pretty good. They seem to be pricing in potential de-escalation or something. I'm not sure. It's an interesting situation as we've been talking about this week, but markets right now, both Bitcoin. Of course, we got through all that quantum FUD yesterday. It ended much like I said it would. Once it became clear and experts started weighing in, it was just overstatement, obviously, hype used to knock the market down and get rid of some of that liquidity, still some liquidity from everybody out here trying to make an honest living. But yeah, I got here a little earlier today too. Apologize, I've been getting here a little late the last couple of days. I didn't leave anywhere this morning to go film my TikTok little 10-minute kind of update. I did that from here. So the NASDAQ's looking to open up a little. It was up, man. Things were up as high as 1% over early this morning, but NASDAQ's looking to open up 0.68% to the positive. Like I say, that was as high as 1% over the evening. Dow as well. We'll pull that up. Yeah, Dow's looking to open up 0.38. We are exactly 6 minutes away from the opener, so we will take a look at that, analyze it once it actually opens. Look at the S&P, 0.38. So gold at 47,059 up at 1.72. Gold's been doing a little better. Oil, of course, dropping. There might be some kind of short-term or long-term resolution. We shall see. You never know if these people are with the big speech. Anyway, we'll break it down as talk, but let's take a quick look into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is 68,472, up 2.4% for the day. You can see it got all the way down to 66 just after the show yesterday, 66,577. Almost a $3,000 recovery. And like I say, there was really no reason. The market looked good yesterday. I believe it was all just the quantum FUD, just a reason to manipulate the market. We're not as manipulated as it has been. There has been some arrests. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Ethereum, $2,130. It got all the way down to $2,043. It's up 4.3% for the day. XRP at $1.35.6, up 2.7. It got down to $1.31. And Solana, $83.33, up 2.9%. Got all the way down in the mid 80s and 80s. So, about $4 pop for Solana. So let's break into the news. Obviously, big news is Trump's speech. Now, interesting that all the major networks, and I don't even own a TV. I don't watch any of the mainstream media, to be honest with you, other than clips. But yeah, all the major TV networks will be interrupting their programming to air Trump's address tonight. Seems like a big announcement coming. I remember when I was a kid and there was only 3 channels before cable and everything. Yeah, it was horrible, man. When the president came on, that was it. Everything stopped. But I don't think they do this that often anymore. And it's split. Some people saying, oh, he's going to cause some kind of resolution is what he's kind of been hitting at. Other people say, no, he's going to announce a ground invasion. He just needs to sell it to the American people. So it'll be interesting to see, see what happens. It could, but so far the markets, and that happens later tonight. I believe it's like 7 or 9 p.m. It's quite late tonight. So anyway, that's to get everybody. When you do that, you want everyone home from work. So I don't know, man. I don't know what way it's going to go. All the signaling, everything else he's been signaling that he's ready to pull out of there and he's going to kind of declare victory. That's the way I'm going to go if I'm forced to call it right now. But GM, welcome everyone listening live on YouTube and X, maybe on Rumble. I don't know. No one follows me on Rumble. I see a couple people a day watch it, but I stream it over there anyway because it's the same software. I'll soon be streaming this to TikTok. I'm almost at 1,000 followers. Fear and Greed still at 8. Hasn't adjusted at all. I mean, we're at like 70 some odd days or close to 70 days in extreme fear. It's got to be some kind of record, but this is what happens when you start to get at a bottom or near a bottom, or we've had the bottom. So we're right there, right? We're right there. We'll see what happens. But Michael Saylor's strategy just ended Q1 on track to hold 1 million Bitcoin by December. So if he stays up with his same pace, which he may or may not, he could literally, I think he's 162,000 and some change. But basically, they bought 88,000 Bitcoin in 90 days, 350,000 pace for 226, $42 billion war chest raise. We are witnessing greatness. I agree, man. He's definitely got the vision. It's not slowing down. So that'd be awesome if he owned 1 million Bitcoin. I think there's only a chance for one maybe company to do it, unless like Apple or someone like that wanted to come in. April Fool's Day, of course. Be careful what you believe. I've already seen some trickery out there. This by our guy Charting Wealth, are often longtime contributor to the GM Bitcoin Morning Show. Housing getting worse. He's spent his life in financial services and the last owns a mortgage company in Florida right now. He's basically saying housing is getting worse. People can't lower their rate or get cash out to pay higher debt. Imagine you have all this equity in your house and you can't use it and you get in trouble. Really a bad situation. Can't refinance, interest rates high. But yeah, weekly mortgage refinance demand is down more than 40% in the same month, according to CNBC. So yeah, not good, man. Something I think Trump will address, obviously. Okay, market just opened. We'll give it a couple minutes to settle in, and we'll check with it as we continue to check the news that's driving things right now. Go check on Twitter. Make sure everything's good over there. Yep, see a lot of people listen over there. Welcome, welcome. Happy April Fool's Day. Be careful about what you believe today. And a lot of trickery out there, but I don't know. Maybe us in the trenches, we're so beat down. Like, who needs April Fools? We've already had March Fools, man. We've already been beat down enough. So there might not be as much trickery going on as there would be normally. But $1.6 trillion Franklin Templeton to acquire a coin fund spinoff that expands deeper into crypto. So for about 10 years, I told us, hey, we can beat Wall Street to the punch. We can't totally beat them to the punch because they're already here, but this is why I'm saying if you buy Bitcoin and stuff now, you can basically just sit back and let them pump our bags, right? These companies are just starting to get in, just starting to position, and it's early, man. It's early. So there's still a great opportunity. I think the risk rewards never been better, personally. That's how I personally feel. $10 trillion Morgan Stanley and just days away from launching its first Bitcoin ETF. This will be the first U.S. bank, because I believe they're categorized as a bank. So to me, this is a big deal, and they're going to have their own ETF just literally days away. Big news, I think. This is good news here. The U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ, charges 10 foreign nationals across 4 crypto firms for running pump and dump schemes on cryptocurrency markets. 3 executives, including 2 CEOs, were arrested and extradited from Singapore to face trial. So I've been talking about years how manipulated we are, and it was really bad. It was so obvious over the last year or so, just absolutely blatantly in your face. We heard about people accuse Binance, their market maker, forget their name offhand, a big one, Wintermute. People said it was them. People said it. Of course, lately we talked about Jane Street, and but actually, foreign nationals arrested and extradited. So this sends a message, right, that they're not going to put up with that. And obviously, with all the money with Wall Street and stuff, this was only a matter of time. But this is very, very, very good. This sends a strong message that this manipulation will not be tolerated, because it's just been too obvious, right? So to me, this. So they're going all in. Their IBIT, of course, the biggest one there is. So luckily, that's good. They're out there doing their thing, right? They had last year, they were over $14 trillion. This man, Larry Fink, made 37 million plus last year. So he's definitely in on it. And he is the poster child for RWA and tokenization, speaking about it hard. So let's leave with that. Let's go over and see how the market's actually opened here. Sorry, this Yahoo Web Finance is such a slow website, but okay, let's see the NASDAQ. Wow, NASDAQ looks like it might have opened up over 1%, which is good news. It was 1% at one point. Yeah, NASDAQ up 1.08%, sitting at 21,823. The Dow Jones a little higher than expected as well. Yeah, Quantum, you're absolutely right. GM manipulation only tolerated if you're a politician. Yeah, it's funny how these politicians get a small salary and end up multimillionaires worth hundreds of millions, right? It's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious. Both sides of the aisle, by the way. It's not a Republican or Democrat thing. Nancy Pelosi's out traded the greatest of traders. 40, Dow Jones up 69%. That's a good sign. Let's check on the S&P. Yeah, looking good, man. Traditional markets factoring in some kind of a positive news from Trump tonight. We'll see if it can hold. It's hard to know, uncertainty. But yeah, right. So far, so good. I like it. I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Okay, let me go back and yeah, we got a nicer start, and see how Bitcoin and everything's handling the opening. Bitcoin is 68. Let's look at the hourly chart. That'll tell us. Up, looking good. 68,570, 2.4% for the day. I'll take that. Ethereum, 2132. Also look at the hourly, strong, up 3% for the day. XRP, for those of you in the XRP army, $1.35 and 0.2 cents, 2.2%. Yeah, so a good opening, nice opening. Knock on wood, but a nice opening. Solana 83.13, up 2%. I'll take that. Yeah, good opening. Like I say, they're factoring in some good news. Let's hope it continues. We'll check back at the end of the show just to see how things are holding. But welcome everyone. Glad to see everyone holding here on a Wednesday, a hump day, and also the 4th of July. Not the 4th of July, April Fool's Day, the 1st of April, and starting a new quarter. We did end the last quarter by the skin of our teeth, green, or a horrible quarter, but we did end the last month in the green, barely. I'll talk about that in a minute, but here's a little hopium from our guy Vivek Sen. New academic research shows Bitcoin could hit 1 million by early 2027 and 5 million by 2031 if current demand levels continue. This is the Journal of Risk and Financial Management, a supply and demand framework for Bitcoin price forecasting. So a little bit of hopium. I mean, I heard yesterday people talking that a supply on a Bitcoin, Ethereum on exchange is all time low. We're going to see supply shock at some points. So I am predicting that we'll hit all time high this year. So we'll see with the election going on. My thesis is the money printer is going to take off with the new Fed chair. Trump, we just saw he's got to get a hold of the housing market. The housing market's killing the economy, and he doesn't want to pay an extra $1 trillion in debt. So, but there's a little hopium, little morning hopium. Don't count it out. Just like we don't count out Bitcoin taking a bigger drop. Do not count out Bitcoin surprising you. It's done it many times in the 15 years that I've been here. Just when it seems bleakest, boom, it explodes. BitGet CEO Gracie Chun predicts AI agents will outnumber humans in hedge funds by 2028. I think that's bullish to be honest with you, for crypto, because we know the AI agents love to interact and are going to interact on the blockchain. AI agents are going to outnumber people, and that's going to help with adoption, because an AI agent already knows everything, not your grandma or mom or dad waiting to learn stuff. Malta warns that if EU pushes ahead with centralizing crypto oversight under ESMA, firms will simply pack up, move to Dubai, Asia, and the US. Wow, under Biden, they wouldn't have included the US. Money goes where it's treated best, right? If you have these draconian measures and taxes and stuff like that, you're simply stifling innovation. So I couldn't agree more than the country of Malta. Ripple, for the XRP army and XRP community out there, those people who believe Ripple is going to hit $1,000. Ripple partners with global payments firm Convera to offer stablecoin powered cross-border payment treasury solutions for business, kind of getting back to doing what their core mission was. But unfortunately, most of that's not going to, it's going to settle in, looks like I have the same thing twice. Looks like it's going to settle in stablecoin, not Ripple, but Ripple does have their own stablecoin. Per the Wall Street Journal, the UAE is preparing to join the U.S. and allies in forcibly reopening the Straits of Hormuz and is pushing for a UN Security Council resolution to authorize it. And Trump said yesterday that that's not a basis for us pulling out, but don't ever know, what's going on. A lot of misinformation, a lot of 4D chess happening out there. I think Trump's going to announce some kind of coalition or peace initiative. Some people are saying no. He's just going to announce a ground invasion. So we will see. I expect something big news though. New Hampshire Bitcoin-backed municipal bond scores a Ba2 rating from Moody's, marking an unprecedented first in public finance, per Bloomberg. So what they're doing, and the first company I believe is a Bitcoin miner, they will be able as collateral to pledge Bitcoin like at 1.4% to the capital they're getting, but they will be able to hold their Bitcoin, and through this first of its type municipal bond, be able to get low interest money for operations to buy more miners or things like that. So I think this is super cool, and it's a great way for treasury companies and stuff to leverage, get money needed for growth, and not have to sell their Bitcoin. So when the time comes to sell your Bitcoin, you won't have to. You'll be able to borrow against it and use these creative financial instruments to do it. This is a great way. So shout out to New Hampshire. If it works, it could be something that many people adopt. BlackRock, we've been talking about the new 401k rules. BlackRock says the new 401k rules in the U.S. will give 80% of Americans access to Bitcoin. Obviously, they're licking their chops because most of those will be IBIT or some of their other ETFs. Obviously, they'll be huge beneficiaries of that. I think we report it's 14, 15, 16 trillion, an amazing amount of money. And for those of you that aren't in America, what it is it's you can make a certain amount tax deferred. So like say my wife and I, we each put $5,000, so $10,000 in our taxes, and then we can write that off. You take that off your income. So if you earned 100 grand this year, it looks like you only earned $90,000. So it's a tax deferred way to grow, and sometimes there's matching and stuff from your employer. So a lot of money, trillions and trillions of dollars, and almost everyone uses it. So it's one of the best tax deductions we have here in the U.S. Okay, non-farm payroll came in, expected 41,000. These are private sector jobs. 62,000. I think year over year it was 66,000 last year. So off a little from last year, but showing a little better growth than was expected. So I think a lot of what Trump doing is going to help the economy. Just some of it is slower incoming, kind of like losing weight. We just closed our worst first quarter since 2018. Man, I vividly remember 2018 early. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. That's when Bitcoin topped off at right at 20,000 and then dropped all the way down to like 3,200, 3,400. Absolutely brutal, man. Just kept buying the dip and just kept dipping. But you had a huge bull run come after that. So anyway, officially we lost 22% first quarter. So hopefully next quarter will be better. FTX Recovery Trust distributes $2.2 billion to creditors today. To be honest with you, that's good, because that's money that was invested in FTX. A lot of that should find its way back into Bitcoin and other risk assets. According to CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, probability of a Federal Reserve holding rate cuts unchanged in April at 99.5%. So almost guaranteed there will be no rate hike or no rate cut. And I say rate hike because with the war and everything, the uncertainty, there was started to be some discussion about a rate hike, and that would have killed us. But we think it'll hold strong and then hold steady, which is kind of what's expected. And then hopefully we get some rate cuts from the new Fed chair to help housing and everything else, and will certainly help us. Oracle, man. Oracle this morning brutally laid off 20 to 30,000 employees with a single email. So, man, whether could be because AI, could be just whatever, but man, firms are getting, so people are, there's some real people losing some nice jobs out there. So hearts go out to those people who got laid off. They're going to have to do something different. Once again, get used to this with the AI coming and robotics. We're going to have to make a change. We had 5 months of red candles. These are the monthly candle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see the right here. We just barely closed in the green. Though people have pointed out that these candles, I don't know if we've ever had one, or it's been more than 10 years since we've had one of these on the monthly. But look here, you can see that if you look at the charts, typically when you have one of these hammer candles or whatever they call them, typically it's followed by some up, that type of a candle when you look at TA. But anyway, typically 5-6 months in the red is typically followed by a bit of a bull run. So technically speaking, let's have some hope there. I told you yesterday a lot of this quantum stuff was FUD, meant to manipulate the market, and it played out exactly as I predicted. As you broke it down, you would find, and experts weighed in, you would find it was a lot of hype. All that happened is Google said they were going to try and push up their quantum resistance preparations to 2028 or 2029, 2030. Once again, a lot of speculation, a lot of hypothetical. People came out and said, we're 10, 20, 30 years away from that happening. And some people say it's never going to happen. They're never going to break that algorithm. Anyway, Satoshi Nakamoto, 10 years. I'm going to leave you with this, then we'll check on crypto. And we'll call it a day. We'll call it an April Fool's Day. But Satoshi Nakamoto in 2010 on quantum computers. If it happens gradually, we can still transition to something stronger. So He was aware of it. Satoshi Nakamoto, of course, being the anonymous founder or founders of Bitcoin. So haven't heard from him for a long, long time, but that's what he said. He said if it happens gradually, we can still transition. So we definitely need to have a plan and have it ready to go, because you were talking about new uncharted water. So it's not to say it's not a problem, but I just thought yesterday it was brought out to manipulate the market, very coordinated, and it was. And then there was a lot of misinformation. So Satoshi Nakamoto wasn't too worried. Most of the top experts, CZ came out yesterday, said don't worry. Anyway, let's check. Let's take one last check at the markets here. See where we're at on a hump day. And interesting day where we're kind of on hold to see what the president is doing. NASDAQ looks like it's down a little. NASDAQ looks like it's closer to point, up about 6%, 3/4 of a point. Not quite the highs we looked at a minute ago. Yeah, 0.68. Dow Jones up 0.36. S&P 0.46. And take a last look at crypto. See how we're holding out. Bitcoin now looks like we dropped a little. If we look at the hourly chart, yep, had a little bit of a drop. 67,998, a 1.1% for the day. We couldn't hold that drop just below that 68 position. We'll see how it holds up. Same looking at the hourly charts here, by the way, so you can get a little feel for this last few minutes. 2001.14 still up 2% for the day. XRP dollar 34.7 down, still up 1.7% for the day. And Solana 82.55 up 1% for the day, but we did drop off that 83.41 high. Well, or the daily high was, of course, 84.65. But on the hourly, yeah, we're cooling off a little. We'll see what happens. Go back and forth. Expect that in the first few minutes. Appreciate everyone joining me. We'll be back tomorrow for your dose of Opening Bell Crypto. You're welcome to join me on the GM Bitcoin Morning Show coming up at the top of the hour. A little earlier today. I'd like this to be my more normal time frame, so we can get in a little before the market, a little during the opening, and a little after. So this would be my ideal time. I'll try and get there. Sometimes, depending on what's going on, I get caught up and can't quite make it. But join me on the GM Bitcoin Morning Show. Have some co-hosts. Don't have the charts and stuff. Be covering a lot of the information, but we do have many more people participating. You guys have a great Wednesday. Happy hump day. We'll be all eyes on the president, see what happens, see what he comes out and says. It will be interesting, to say the least, as it always